Everybody ready to go? Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to Sapperton today. As you know, we're here today to talk about the launch of our DoubleDecker pilot project. This morning you'll hear from Kevin Desmond, CEO of TransLink, Dan Savitsky, our Vice President of Maintenance for Coast Mountain Bus Company, Stephen Walsh, Vice President for Alexander Dennis, the manufacturer of this bus behind us, and finally Jack Froese, Mayor of the Township of Langley. Once our speakers have concluded, we'll take some questions here from the podium. So without further ado, I'll pass things on to Kevin Desmond, CEO for TransLink.
Thank you, Chris, and good morning, everyone. Actually, good afternoon. Thanks for being out here with us this afternoon. And isn't this cool as the backdrop of our DoubleDecker? So we're here today to officially launch our DoubleDecker pilot project. These buses are wrapped and ready to go. We expect to put them into service late next week. The buses only just arrived over the last week or two, and our folks in our bus company are busy now training up the operators who will be driving these buses over the next 3 months during the course of our pilot. But why double-deckers? Why now? Why are they here? Well, first of all, by way of backdrop, we've got 2.5 million people live in this region. Our ridership is booming. Last year, we ended the year with a 4.5% ridership increase. Through October of this year, our ridership is up about 6.5%. And with that demand comes crowding on our buses. And these buses are part of our solution to crowding and to attract and retain ridership with a more comfortable and, in this case, kind of a fun ride. The backdrop is also what's happening going forward. This region of 2.5 million people is expected to accommodate another 1.2 million people over the next 25 to 30 years. We have to find solutions now and in the future to managing the capacity of our oversubscribed transportation network, and that includes our transit system. At TransLink, we're delivering for today and planning for tomorrow, and these buses are a very, very good example of that. With that ridership, growth means that the crowding has to be addressed going forward. These buses provide twice the capacity of the current 40-foot buses that operate on the routes that we're going to be testing. Those buses are quite old. You'll probably hear from Mr. Savitsky in a few minutes about the buses that they will be replacing. Mayor Froese is here to help us announce this and celebrate the coming of these buses, because Langley is one of those cities that's growing and growing fast. Almost 13% growth in population in Langley. Surrey was close behind, was 11% population growth in that region. And of course, we know that the fastest growing region, part of the Lower Mainland, are the suburban areas. And that is also where we have to catch up and add and grow to the transit system to meet that growing population and the growing demand for the transit network. We're keeping an eye on these growth curves and analyzing our own data, looking at overcrowding on particular bus routes and ridership trends. We want to not only meet the demand, but improve the customer experience to make transit an attractive option. And again, as we're seeing this rapid ridership growth, today we want to be mindful of making sure those customers that we're welcoming to our transit system now stay with us. So we're trying something new. But of course, double-deckers really aren't new. They're new for TransLink, but they are operated all over the world. It's close, just across the water in Victoria. They've been operating double-decker buses for a long time. I have direct experience in the Seattle metropolitan region that introduced double-decker buses for our express service operating largely between Everett and Seattle. They are very popular and very successful. Our pilot will last approximately 3 months. Our operators will give us feedback on how they see driving the buses, our mechanics, and how we have to make any adjustments in our depots to accommodate the buses. Some of the routes, so I think in your media material, we point out the routes that we'll be testing these buses on. For example, the Route 555 from the Carvault Exchange in Surrey. that provide service to people in Langley, that provide service to people in Langley, Surrey, and over here to the Lougheed SkyTrain station. That bus is overcrowded. We've added service already once in April this year, and we expect to add some more buses again in January. We can't keep up with the demand, and even as the toll was removed on the Port Mann Bridge, it hasn't reduced the ridership demand for the 555. Another route that we're going to be testing the bus on is the Route 301, operating from Surrey to Richmond. That bus chronically has at least 11 standees. You know, and on a bus that's operating on the highway with only about 40 seats, 11 standees is a lot, and that's not the most comfortable ride. So we want to give people a break. These double-decker buses have more than 80 seats, providing about an 83% increase in capacity over the existing coaches that we use now. So by operating these double-decker buses, we can reduce the chance of being passed up, we can improve service quality while carrying more people and meet that future demand. So you'll see on the back of the bus where it says TransLink tomorrow, and it's part of what we're trying to tell the general public, that we are focused on not only today but tomorrow in providing better service for the people of the Lower Mainland. We are delivering on our promises. That's our job at TransLink. Our policymakers are making new funding available. We want to deliver. Now I want to introduce Dan Savitsky, our maintenance vice president at Coast Mountain Bus Company. Dan?
Thanks, Kevin. Good afternoon, everybody. This is a very exciting pilot for the bus company, as it'll be the first time we've ever put double-deckers into service. We've been working with the vehicle manufacturer for several months here to prepare for this pilot. These buses were recently at the American Public Transit Association's conference in Atlanta, Georgia. So this means the buses had to complete a 4,500-kilometer road trip just to get here. Route testing has also been a significant part of our preparations. All the routes and even the potential reroutes for the buses had to be checked for obstacles like low-hanging branches and wires that could make contact with the upper deck of the bus. To do that route testing, we repurposed a retired 40-foot bus and created a mock double-decker by adding rectangular frames to the front and the back of that bus. This bus was then driven around on all the routes, and we are still continuing to do some of that route testing today. The obstacles identified were then forwarded to the appropriate municipalities, and we'd like to thank the municipalities for working with us to remove the items that could have damaged these buses. We've also been preparing the training for our operators, service persons, and mechanics, as the operating characteristics of these vehicles are definitely different from the rest of our fleet. A lot of planning has also gone into the installation of our onboard equipment, like the compass, fare box, and radio communication systems, since these buses are new to us. And yes, these buses actually do fit through the Massey Tunnel. I'm sure there will be several people ducking if they're sitting on the upper deck the first time they go through, but the buses were specifically selected because they do fit through the tunnel. And just like the rest of our bus fleet, the double-deckers are fully accessible on the lower deck and provide space for up to 4 customers using mobility devices. As Kevin has mentioned, the main attraction of the double-deckers is the seating capacity. They have up to 86 seats on each bus. The majority of those seats are on the upper deck. And for customers planning to go to the upper deck, there's a screen that shows how many seats are available before heading up the stairs. Once seated on the upper deck, the view is panoramic, which we expect our customers will really enjoy. Over the next few months, as part of the pilot, the buses will run on routes in Richmond, Tsawwassen, White Rock, Delta, and Surrey areas, and even one route between Burnaby and Langley. To make sure our customers are supported during the pilot, we'll have ambassadors at some of the bus exchanges and even on the buses themselves at key dates and times to provide assistance and answer any questions. We'll be asking our customers and employees for feedback on the double-decker. An online survey will be available at translink.ca/doubledecker. We anticipate these buses will be a hit with our customers, and we look forward to hearing from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And now we'll hear from Stephen Walsh, who's the Vice President of Alexander Dennis. Stephen.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to some true English weather. Thank you to Kevin and Dan for their introductions, and also to the professionalism of their team we've been working with to get the bus here today. It's been a great partnership so far, and we're really looking forward to our future as part of TransLink's operation. Alexander Dennis are two companies that can trace their automotive manufacturing roots back to the 1800s. We came to North American market 17 years ago, actually in response to interest here in British Columbia, and we have had buses now in continuous service in the provincial capital since then. Of those initial 10 buses that were supplied, all of them are still in operation 17 years later, many of them with over 1 million kilometers on the bus. Since then, we have gone on to sell over 1,000 double-deck buses, providing mainstream transportation to agencies throughout Canada, including your nation's capital, Ottawa, where critically they operate during the winter snow and ice conditions. So what are the unique benefits that a double-deck bus offers? Taking back the space in your cities. With a street footprint virtually the same as a single-deck bus, we can carry up to 100 passengers, dramatically winning back space in your inner city environments, and it's a highly maneuverable bus for that inner city work. On commuting routes, the Enviro 500 has no peers. We provide over 80 seats, 86 on this bus in particular, with full low-floor accessibility to reduce dwell times and provide a smooth and quiet ride. Availability. In northern climates, our Enviro 500 excels over other high-capacity buses in snow and ice conditions. With enhanced features such as tag axle traction assist and ABS, the Enviro 500 provides service in the worst of winter conditions. And then finally, flexibility. At Alexander Dennis, we recognize the unique operating conditions and passenger demands that characterize our customers' transit routes. The Enviro 500 here today is a prime example of listening to our customer. Here we designed a totally new platform to meet provincial maximum height requirements, yet still provide full super low floor accessibility, industry-leading fuel efficiency, and lower operating costs. With increasing commuter times, the value of a comfortable seat with amenities is becoming a valued commodity, and a double-deck Enviro 500 provides a smooth, quiet, and comfortable ride. And it's actually fun to ride. So we invite you to enjoy TransLink's innovative approach, enjoy the buses in the coming 3 months, and we look forward to seeing you during the services. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And we'll have now Jack Froese, the Mayor of the Township of Langley, where one of these buses will be riding soon. Jack.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here today, and it's actually very fitting, because on Sunday, November the 19th, the Township of Langley celebrates Douglas Day, which was when Sir James Douglas declared the province of British Columbia as a crown colony for the United Kingdom. And on Sunday, our theme at Douglas Day, where we celebrate with our pioneers, is transportation. And we're looking back in time at what transportation looked like in Langley and in the valley. And today, I'm standing in front of a beautiful double-decker bus, and it's nice to think that what's old is new again, and we're going to have greater capacity for our residents and for serving the Fraser Valley. About 6 years ago, about the time I was elected for the first time as mayor, Carvault Exchange was being built, and there was concerns that we wouldn't get any buses. Funding problems, issues. The province and TransLink were reviewing whether or not we'd even get a bus to the exchange. Short time later, the buses arrived. Well, it's been one of the fastest growing transit exchanges and ridership in the TransLink system, and we're very proud of that. Not only does it serve the residents of the Township of Langley, it serves the entire region. BC Transit connects from Chilliwack and Abbotsford at the Carvault Exchange, where people can get on board the 555 and make their way to the SkyTrain system. So with the added capacity of these double-decker buses, it's going to be a much needed and appreciated addition to our transportation needs in Langley. So I want to just thank TransLink for taking the initiative of looking at newer technology, which is old technology, but new for us, and comfortable bus ride. It's going to serve us for many, many years. Hopefully this pilot project is successful, and we're going to get to see more of these buses to add the much needed capacity to one of the fastest growing transit exchanges and ridership areas in TransLink. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. Now we will take some questions. If you can just indicate to me with your hand a nod or something, and we'll try and work through you in order here. Over here, if you could just say what outlet you're from and your question.
News 1130. Just wondering, I got getting questions on social media already. How is this any different from the articulated buses? How do we have a benefit with the double-decker as opposed to the...
Right, so comparing these buses, to the articulated buses.
These are bigger. And for the type of service that they're operating on, they're more comfortable. Articulated buses driving on highways and at highway speed is not a very comfortable ride. Articulated buses work best in an urban environment like our B lines, for example. These have a lot more seating capacity. For this type of service, you really want just everyone to be able to sit and not stand. Articulated buses are very urban, quick on and off, lots of standees and so forth. So for the type of service that these would be deployed to, far superior experience.
Question over here, the outlet you're from, and the question.
Ashley Burr with BCIT News. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the screens you said that will tell us whether it's full capacity on top or not.
Sure, we can put that to Stephen Walsh from Alexander Dennis.
Yes, we fit a number of camera systems. It's the customer's demands and requirements where we place them, but generally on our demonstrator buses we have camera looking down the upper saloon from the front of it and from the rear looking forwards. So if you're at the base of the staircase, you can take a look at the screen there and see what the seat availability is, see if there's opportunity to go upstairs, rather than head upstairs, find all the seats are full and then end up feeling a little embarrassed. So it's an opportunity to pre-check.
Question over here on the Laura over here on the left.
I got a microphone right here.
Great.
Yeah.
Outlet you're from?
CBC News, Vancouver.
Yeah.
Just wondering how this sort of fits into the sort of low carbon strategy that TransLink's pursuing, and also if there's ever a chance you would see this on a more urban route, like say somewhere in Vancouver, maybe along Broadway.
Okay, Kevin.
At this point, we're considering the double-decker buses primarily for our highway routes, not really for the urban routes. Again, I think it goes back to the previous question. Articulated coaches, of which we have a lot, and we have a lot of life left on those coaches, really work better for the large number of on and offs, people getting on and off the buses. These, at least this particular design, is very well suited for make a stop at Carvolth Exchange, get on the bus, get off at Lougheed after your half-hour ride. In terms of the low carbon strategy and the fuel use for these, there are not a lot of options available. This happens to be a diesel coach. We expect to go out to the market at early next year. We'll find out what's available, and we'll make a decision at that point in time. We have about 1,350 buses at Coast Mountain Bus for TransLink. This will be a relatively small portion of the fleet. I think our planners estimate that roughly 50 to 60 is probably the right number. Our larger fleet, we're very, very eager to start moving away from fossil fuels, and that's part of the low-carbon strategy that we'll be finished with about mid-year next year.
Any other questions before we conclude? One more over here. Yep.
Okay, I want to thank you for increasing the capacity for wheelchairs. That's welcome news. I'm just wondering how doubling the capacity for people that use mobility aids, like walkers, like my mom, people that aren't able to get upstairs. I presume there's no way for them to get upstairs. How does it double the capacity for those folks?
I don't know that it will be doubling the capacity. There's the lower floor, and we would make sure in the final design of the bus, these are pilot buses, that we would meet all of our accommodation requirements, the same as our entire fleet.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll conclude the formal portion, and we're going to We're offering a ride on the bus. We're going to do a little loop around the neighborhood, so if you're interested in that, please